but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right.
I was like, Mommy, you know, the thing about this, I always wanted to go to Howard, and I went to Howard.
But those people around him, you know, the Grahams, the Cruzes, the Hawleys, the Meadows, McCarthy, McConnell, all those guys, all older white men, which so happens to be.
Many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to take it light and I'm going to laugh at 3 funny clips that I thought were pretty amusing, and that's going to be the show for today. So if you're trying to laugh, you're in the wrong place, because I'm not funny. It's going to be overrated and you're going to sit there wondering why you spent your time here. No, just kidding. But hopefully you enjoyed. The 3 clips are: Kamala Harris looks like she's on cocaine. I'm not saying she is on cocaine. I'm just saying she looks like it. The coach of the Spurs, Coach Popovich, he's a legend. He apparently is a soy boy who's had all of his testosterone sucked out of his body, and he's been watching a lot of mainstream media, it seems like. And then we're going to talk about the controversial jokes of Tony Hinchcliffe and whether I think it was appropriate for a presidential rally a couple weeks before, or almost a week before an election. But anyway, Dream Rare Podcast starts now. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, except for like 4 people. Just kidding, but I guess starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? What's going on Rumble? And then what's going on BitChute after it starts, because I can't see you guys now. Anyway, I'm going to get right into it because I have 3 different sets of clips that I want to respond to. And the first one is Kamala Harris. I don't know. I have to give a spoiler alert or whatever. I don't know where this comes from, to be quite honest. I have no idea what interview this is from, but somebody made a compilation of her acting really strange, and a lot of people are now speculating if she's on drugs. Of course, I don't want to start that rumor. I'm not trying to start a rumor, but I don't know. Something seems a little off here. Here's the clip. I thought it was at least funny to look at. So here's Kamala having a normal one on some sort of podcast, or probably interview, news interview. Makes more sense.
I was like, Mommy, you know, the thing about this, I always wanted to go to Howard, and I went to Howard. And actually, it was in February of 2004. Olives with cream cheese on dark rye. And so it's remember, I'm a prosecutor. I have focused on that. I mean, in a nutshell. And it was the assessor at the time. Can you perform some marriages? We need more people. And every like nook and cranny of City Hall. Yes. Important is that we also appreciate.
A lot of nose rubbing, a lot of weird jaw movements, a lot of what was this first one? She's like, Mommy. It's like, what context is that in? I have no idea.
I was like, Mommy, you know, the thing about this.
All right, lady. We get it. You want to be president. It's hard on the campaign trail sometimes. You got to elevate your status in order to, keep the energy going. I'm just kidding. I have no idea what she's doing, but I would guess she's going skiing, for those degenerates who know what that means now. But anyway, let's get to some serious news. It's election time, and we got to get into the deep diving stuff. What do people really think about the presidents? Here's a coach. I think his name is Gregg Popovich. He's a legendary Spurs coach. I saw this on YouTube, or actually probably Twitter or X. And I was like, my gosh, this guy, I knew he was liberal, but it's just like, this guy is every Democrat, shriveled up, string beaned out, like soy boy vibes. It's unreal. So I chopped it into 4 clips, and let's get into it.
So he's pathetic. He's small. He's a whiner. We all know that. But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business?
Hold on. Before I go, somebody made a funny comment, and I've been seeing this a lot. People are like, well, I guess we know who's it wasn't Hunter Biden's drugs in the White House. I forgot to include that. That's pretty funny, where it's like everyone was blaming Hunter Biden, but it could have been somebody else's. Anyway, let's get back to Popovich. Sorry about that.
So he's pathetic. He's small. He's a whiner. We all know that. But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business? There's no way. But we're going to vote for him for president because he's strong? I mean,
it's like a grandpa liberal. He's just taking all these points and he's trying to like skew them together. He's like, you wouldn't want Trump to babysit your kids. You're like, okay, how many times have you heard that on the television? And he's like, would you want Trump to start a business with? It's like, probably. I mean, he wouldn't be bad to have on the business. Of course, some of his businesses failed, but when you're rich and you do a lot of businesses, you purposely just make a lot of entities, so it's not a big deal because he has a lot of successful businesses. So it's like the guy's been watching so much CNN that he's just trying to tie together points. He's like, hey, would you want to start a business with him? You're like, I'd definitely rather start a business with Trump than Kamala. Like, what business has Kamala ever done, or Joe Biden? Career politicians are not. Usually they create regulations for businesses without ever having run them themselves, where Trump is actually the opposite. He started a business. So that's kind of the huge appeal to Trump to the average person. But he's like, would you even want the businessman to watch your kids? Oh, because he's strong. And it's like, bro, turn off the Brian Stelter before you have a conniption. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Brian Stelter's not even on TV anymore. Sorry, Brian Stelter, catching a stray on this conversation. But this dude is pretty funny.
Kamala Harris whipped his ass in the debate, just obviously, and he's running ever since. He doesn't want any part of her because, as she said before, she's eaten many of his type for lunch. As an attorney general, as a prosecutor, he's a small fry compared to some of the people she's gone after. And he knows it. So all he can do is cut people down, and do what he does. We've all seen all that kind of stuff. The ones that you can be even more angry about, because he's sick. He's a damaged man. He grew up the biggest wannabe there ever was in New York, right? We all know that. He wanted to be in the inner circle, but they laughed at him his whole life. Just like Obama made fun of him at that dinner, and he was about to melt. That angered him so bad, it was scary. But
it's like, it's one thing to not like Donald Trump, like be like, oh, he got destroyed in the debate or whatever. And they're always like, he's sick, he's deranged, he's crazy. And we're like, all right, grandpa, calm down. Don't take your meds. Actually, I think you probably take too many. But anyway, I'm not your doctor. Listen to your doctor. But then he's like, he wanted to be in their inner circle and they all laughed at him. Like, who laughed at him? Listen, there's a lot of flaws of Trump and there's a lot of suspect things about him, but like, I don't even get what he's saying. Like, he wanted to be in whose inner circle, because he was in almost everyone's inner circle. Like, he was donating to the Clintons, getting them to go to weddings. He was beloved by The View, by Oprah. Every rapper liked him. NBA players probably liked him. Like, I'm not trying to just shill for Trump, but it's like, what inner circle was he not a part of? Like, I don't know. I think he was a part of everyone's inner circle at a certain point. He was like one of the most famous businessmen alive. Most businessmen of his level like aren't that popular. He was always at sporting events. And then now the story is, I mean, I still think he has a lot of connection, but the story is now, because he was inside, he can be an outsider or whatever, but I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the next part. This is my favorite part, where Popovich, an old white man, complains about old white men running things, or like, it's just, I'm just going to put my face like this now because it's just so cringe. I'm embarrassed for him. This is so sad.
He was never accepted. He was treated like a fool, like a clown. And now he's able to just give the finger to the world because of his position now. And that's what he's doing. He's getting back at everybody because he's so small. He's got to go after everybody, just like we all know the generals and Mike Pence and all that. We've all heard that before. But those people around him, the Grahams, the Cruzes, the Hawleys, the Meadows, McCarthy, McConnell, all those guys, all older white men, which so happens to be.
Oh, you got him good there, Pop, dude. Good observation. I don't even think Josh Hawley's that old. He seems pretty young, actually. But it's like he's like, it just so happens to be older white man. Why do old white guys who complain about old white guys, why do they never start with themselves? Like, why doesn't he step down and let like a black transgender activist take over the Spurs? Like, why does he, Popovich, as an old white man, want to stuff up the job market in the NBA? Like, why not start with yourself? If you're so hating of your ethnicity and your age bracket and your, gender, start with yourself, bro. They never do. It's like, step down. I would love to see Popovich step down and be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Here's a black man. Take my job, black man. But no, he wants to just keep coaching the Spurs. They've sucked for a while now. I mean, they got Wembanyama, so they should be good because he's a generational talent. But it's just like, really, bro? That's the narrative. And then this last part, it shows me that he's just one of these old guys. I don't want to say boomer because the boomers got mad last time. They're like, talk about Gen X, Gen Z, talk about, you're talking about this other generation. I'm like, yeah, but I like to say boomer because it's funnier. So here's the last part, because he's so clearly just trying to recall talking points that he heard on television, and it's just so sad to watch. But I hope Tim Duncan comes back and condemns him, and Tony Parker as well. Anyway.
They know he's an ass. They said it. I'm not saying that I think they think that. They've told us that ever since, 2015, 16, all that kind of thing. I mean, they've called him a xenophobic, a religious bigot, a racist, unfit for office, on and on and on. Their words. But they're right there with him. Do they not know that they have children and grandchildren probably that are going to lose freedom if this guy is elected? I'm not talking about a policy. I'm talking about the idea of our country.
I'm not talking about a policy. Bro, we know you said a bunch of ism words. You're like, racism, xenophobia. I'm not talking about policy here, but he's going to get rid of freedom. Which policy of his or which one of his actions is going to get rid of freedom? Well, I'm not talking about policy here. Then where's the freedom going? What freedom are you talking about that he's going to get rid of? I could name one because I actually pay attention, or at least I could name something that he's slightly infringing on, but they always go back to the point of abortion, in which Roe versus Wade was the scary thing that forever they didn't want to overturn. And then when they overturned it, it actually made complete sense to me. I was like, oh, the states get to decide. That's awesome. Like, if you're living in Idaho or Alabama, where a majority of people are religious and they believe that abortion is murder, they shouldn't have to have abortions. And if you are so I live in California right now. It sucks. I don't like income tax. I'm libertarian when it comes to taxes for the most part. So I'm moving my business elsewhere. That's a decision that I've made because I don't want to live under a liberal, policies in multiple directions. So this idea that Trump getting rid of Roe versus Wade, or the judges that he appointed getting rid of Roe versus Wade, it literally doesn't even get rid of freedom. It just brings it back to the states, and most states still allow you to get abortions. But America is so brainwashed. If you compared America's abortion policy and what the Democrats are talking about to even other super liberal countries, that's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of other countries are very liberal, and in some cases more liberal, but their style of liberal is different. Where if you're like, yo, what do you think about like 15-week abortion? They're like, that's psychotic. And they're like, yeah, that's Democrats can't even say no. They're just like, oh, we don't, there's no limit. Let the doctor decide. Let the mother decide. It's like, these are just talking points. Should we let the mother decide that, she wants to Casey Anthony her kids? And Democrats would be like, no, that's murder. It's like, well, then letting a mother and a doctor decide, like, what if, a mother and a doctor decided something that's crazy, that's completely illegal? You want to let them do that because two people came together and thought something? This is where, the people who are liberals that believe in big government for almost everything, when it comes to murder, all of a sudden they're like anarchists and they're like, let the mother decide. It's like, what if a mother decides to like kill her family? Well, it's her choice, her body, it's like, I get what you're saying when it's your body, but it's like, there are certain laws, like thou shalt not steal. Democrat mayors don't seem to understand why that's such a, good law, not only biblically, but in most sane societies. Thou shalt not kill. It's like they're communist and socialist when it comes to taxes, when it comes to housing, when it comes to regulations, when it comes to COVID or pharmaceuticals. Like every topic, they're just like so far left that they don't want you to be able to do anything and even like go to a gym and work out. You just got to be fat and take pharmaceuticals. But then when it comes to the concept of murder and trying to draw a line of when it's murder and when it's not, all of a sudden now they're anarchists and they want their freedom to be able to do whatever they want. It's like the states can decide. If you want to do that, you could live in a Democratic state or even some Republican states that vote for abortions, because Americans are so brainwashed and degenerate. Even most Republicans are not drawing a line, or they're afraid to, because probably a lot of these conservative men, it's like their wives are wearing the pants and they're afraid to make the women in their lives upset. So they don't want to say anything because then, they're going to look like a certain way. Anyway, how did I get there? Let's get back to the show. Tony Hinchcliffe did a comedy routine at Trump's thing, and I'm going to play a few clips. And then I also kind of want to give my opinion about whether it was a good idea to have him there. I thought it was funny, but, at the same time, it's probably wasn't the best guest to have at 2 weeks before an election, just like strategically. But this was the big joke that he told that was called racist, and the media was saying he's a racist comedian. I think even Bad Bunny, a very famous Puerto Rican R&B artist, came out and said, wow, I don't even know, but here's the joke.
A lot going on. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right, okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
So I'm a little bit conflicted. My ancestors are fighting with inside my body because I'm part Puerto Rican. How Puerto Rican am I? I'm not sure. I've never taken a DNA test. I could be 10%. I could be 15. I could be upwards of 25. Although I think my grandma said she was part German too, who was Puerto Rican. So maybe 10 to 20%. I'm not sure. 80% of me thinks that was really funny. My European side, my white side, but the Puerto Rican side inside of me is just crying. It's just screaming xenophobia, and it's just totally offended by what he said. No, I don't like comedy is funny to me. He told an abortion joke about Helen Keller, which was super messed up, but I thought that was funny too. Obviously he didn't do it at the rally, but I watched him one time and he said he was making abortion jokes, which most conservatives wouldn't think is funny, but I did think it was funny. I don't agree with abortion, but it's a joke. I don't know. It's a dark joke that he said Helen Keller would be the perfect abortion. That's why they should legalize it. That's a really messed up joke. Obviously, I completely condemn it, but at the same time, I laughed hysterically when I saw Tony live because it was so messed up and it was so out of nowhere that I was like, dude, this guy's hilarious. With that being said, I think I looked it up because people were talking about it. Apparently, Puerto Rico is having some sort of garbage landfill problem that I'm not aware of because I don't pay too much attention to domestic things going on in Puerto Rico. But, I thought it was pretty funny and pretty messed up. But at the same time, I just don't think it was the best idea for Trump, probably, because when you're on a campaign, you're trying to get everybody to vote for you. And then to have Tony, I feel like Trump just wants famous people to be on his side. And I don't think they know who Tony is, or, that's what Tony likes to do. So if you give Tony the Madison Square Garden, he's going to tell messed up jokes because in his head, he's like, why did they just give me this microphone? They're really letting me speak at a Trump rally. A lot of people in the crowd were kind of booing Tony because I think Tony looks super liberal. If you look at Tony, no offense, I've met him before, but you might think he's a soy boy. He kind of looks like he could be the most liberal guy ever. So I think when he was telling these messed up jokes, a lot of Trump supporters in the crowd were actually booing at some parts because they were like, oh, this guy's here to sabotage Donald Trump. Some people still think that's what he was doing. Someone said in the comments I was reading before, they said, Tony was paid to say that joke. I don't know the inner workings of it. I don't work for the Trump campaign. I don't know Tony that well. I don't think Tony was paid to say the joke. I just think Tony is that's what he does. And the Trump campaign gave him the microphone. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you give someone a microphone, they get to say whatever they want to say. That's just kind of how it works. I don't have a problem with it, but I would say, and I'm not comedy comedy's not funny. I thought it was the dynamic to me. Like, I'm like, dude, that's so funny. And people were like, oh, it's not good for the campaign. I didn't say it was. I'm just laughing. It's not, it's not my job. But like, I like kind of messed up stuff like that. Like, it's so funny that it's not a good time for him to do those jokes that then it makes it funnier for me. That's just how my brain operates. But I'm not Howard Lutchman or whatever the transition guy. I saw he did a clip and he's like, everybody, let's end jihad. And everyone's like, what? It's like, make Israel great again or whatever. I saw a lot of that at the thing. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I thought timing wise, probably not the best time to make that joke, but I don't think Tony gives a shit that much about Trump. Like, I don't know who booked him, because I do think he's funny and he's popular, but who booked Tony? Like, they're so desperate for celebrities. Like, oh, this guy's really likes Trump. He probably likes Trump more than Kamala, but he's probably an opportunist who's like, yo, they're going to give me a microphone at the Madison Square Garden in front of a lot of Trump supporters. He's like, I'm going to say messed up stuff that's hilarious. But I thought it was funny. But I get where people are saying, oh, that's not a good idea. But it's like, it's not Tony's fault. It's more whoever gave Tony the microphone's fault if you're mad at it. But here's another joke he said about Palestinians and Israelis. And I thought this was pretty funny. I thought it was really funny, actually. So I enjoyed it.
Unbelievable what's happening right now. It is incredible. Ukraine versus Russia, Israel, it's like bad soccer games. Who even cares? What are we doing? Why is our money involved in these wars? When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're having fun now. We're cooking.
I mean, I just think that's a good joke. He says the Palestinians are going to throw rocks every time, and the people who must not ever be named would throw paper. That's a good joke. I think that was funny. Is it appropriate for a rally? I don't know. I don't make the rules. Me personally, like someone said in the comments, that's my favorite part. Yeah, like, do I want to sit and listen to Rudy Giuliani, like, sweating his makeup off, like, screaming about Israel, or Trump's, like, Jewish campaign guy being like, jihad? Like, that's not appealing to me. I guess maybe for the IDF or some, people who are into that, that's cool. I'm more of like, I like listening to Tony's funny. RFK is interesting sometimes. Dana White is, not always at rallies, so it's cool to hear him speak. But everybody likes something different. I guess Trump had something for everyone, but Tony probably got him in the most trouble. And, I guess from a campaign strategy, it's like Tony's getting you in the most trouble, even though he's like the least connected to the campaign. If you look at all the speakers that spoke, maybe not all of them, but out of like the top 10 I saw, 9 of them have spoken with Trump 15 times. They're basically on his campaign. People like Vivek and, RFK. And then Tony, he's never spoken at a Trump rally. And it's like he's getting Trump in the most trouble, even though he's the least connected to the campaign. Probably not worth it, but definitely comedically gives me something to laugh at. So I appreciate it.
Many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want.
Yeah, that was pretty funny too. I've seen Tony live, I think, probably twice. I've seen like Rogan and his friends live, one time in LA and one time at Austin in his new comedy store. And Tony's really funny. I like his stand-up. He's very dark. Like, his humor's very dark. His timing's really good. He speaks slow, but everything's kind of calculated. I think Tony's a good comedian. He has a big podcast too that people watch. I don't watch it that much, but I do think Tony's funny. And I've seen him live twice. Like, if you like stand-up and live stand-up, he's like, he was being on a good behavior, like compared to his normal set. I'll just tell you the joke that he made when I was there. I'm not going to do it perfectly, obviously, because I'm not him, but he goes, The first time I saw him, I think was in LA, and he goes, "Hey guys, I'm about to be on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. So I got to do a clean set because for TV, you got to keep it really clean. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna have to do this like very, watered down set to just practice for Jimmy Fallon. Is that okay?" And everybody cheered. So then he goes, in the South, in like Alabama and Georgia, he's like, everybody's against abortion, and he's like, and I don't understand. He's like, because when you look at people there, he's like, they should be more into it. And then he goes, Helen Keller was from Alabama or somewhere like that, Louisiana. I don't know. He said Helen Keller was from Alabama. And he goes, that's the perfect abortion. See? And I thought it was hilarious. Like, that's a really messed up joke saying that, I'm against abortion, but like saying that Helen Keller should be, that's so outrageous that like it made me laugh personally. I was like, damn, this guy's funny. And he set it up saying like it was going to be a super calm set for television, and it wasn't going to be that crazy. And then he just came out the gate with like the craziest joke. That the timing of that was hilarious to me. So I'm somebody who could laugh at it. I'm Puerto Rican. I wasn't offended by what he said. I'm against abortion. I do think it's bad, obviously, but like joking about it's different than actually doing it. I don't know what to tell people. If the joke's funny, it's funny. If it's not, it's not. That's just how I operate. Like, there's things that I love that if people joked about it properly, I would laugh. It's just, are they being funny or are they being political and not funny? That's kind of like the difference. I remember there was some lady at the White House who joked about abortion, and everybody was crying about it, being like, she shouldn't do that. You could say she's not funny. You could say it's offensive. You could even say it's wrong and she's terrible. But I was like, wow, Republicans are being snowflakes, where they're like, I can't believe she joked about that. That's what comedians do. I don't know what to tell you. You don't have to agree with their routine, but they were like, that should never happen at the White House. Why not? Why shouldn't it? What should happen at the White House? Lobbying deals with big pharma? Is that what should happen? That's why when Trump came out, I don't need to tell my audience because you guys are smart, except for like 5 people here. You guys are dumb, but everybody else is smart. But jokes aside, it's like when Trump came out, they're like, he doesn't talk. He shouldn't do that. What should he do? What is acceptable in Washington? Lying to my face, making hundreds of millions of dollars off of lobbying, starting war, killing hundreds of thousands of people overseas, raising the deficit, taxing me, sending my money to Zelensky, and then calling me anti-Semitic for noticing how things work. Like, what is American? So people are tired of like, oh, that's how it should be. Well, it's been a lie for so long that people want Trump to fuck around a little bit. They want Tony Hinchcliffe to mess around. Some people are not going to like that. The people who are not going to like that are people who aren't voting for Trump anyway, for the most part. I know the audience did not seem very thrilled with the, his speech, but I don't know. It's not a comedic crowd. It's like if I went into a political crowd and started rapping, I'm not going to get a roaring applause like I might at a music show, because you're going in to a place where people are not really, they're not expecting like a dirty comedy routine, but if you go to a comedy store, then they're ready for that. So there's something. Someone said definitely cost Trump the Puerto Rican vote if he ever had it. Do you mean the Puerto Rican vote like Puerto Rico Puerto Ricans, or like Puerto Ricans in America? Because I don't know. I think there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in New York, but if this is all I'll say. I'm sure it affected the vote a little bit, but if you're Puerto Rican and you like Trump, are you going to hear Tony Hinchcliffe making a joke and being like, well, I guess I got to vote for Kamala now? Like, I don't really see that happening. I definitely think it might drive more liberals to the polls or something. Like, it's not strategically, it's not a good idea to have Tony Hinchcliffe perform a dirty comedy routine with a Trump Vance sign under him. That's not smart. Tony's not the guy that you want to do that with. But, we're kind of just messing around this campaign. We're cooking McDonald's. We're going on Joe Rogan. Like, it's just what it is. Like, JD Vance seems super loose. He was joking with Theo Vaughn about a lot of stuff. I don't know. Comedically, I think it's a great campaign, but I do think that, like, if I was his campaign manager, I would have been like, probably could have done without Tony there. But I don't know. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I saw a few clips, and like other people were annoying, so I liked it. Someone said there's a reason why they're not living in Puerto Rico. Well, that's another thing too. Yeah, the Puerto Ricans who came to America, they could absolutely live in Puerto Rico if they wanted to, but they don't. Most of them don't want to, or they would live there. And then people like Jay Paul moved there for tax breaks. But I don't know. It's like everyone's going to think something of everything. So what are you really going to do? I think it was a slight miscalculation, but I don't think it's going to devastate his campaign election, chances or anything. But he might lose like a percentage point or something. Someone said, nope, not this Puerto Rican because I vote for it with my values, period. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a Puerto Rican who already liked Trump, Tony Hinchcliffe's joke is not going to throw, now I got to vote for Kamala. What is Kamala doing for Puerto Rico? And here's another thing, too, because, I mean, obviously it's definitely a crude joke, but say there's two different politicians, and I'm not, or let's just say this. There's a Democrat and a Republican. They both do nothing for Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico doesn't get any help or it's, whatever. And one says something mean and one says something nice. People, regardless of your ethnicity, at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, do their words matter if their actions are non-existent? Like if Democrats pander to you, but they don't do anything, and Trump panders to you and they don't do anything, why are people so offended by what they say? Like, why is a joke from a comedian at a MSG like changing the scales of people's mind? And when it comes to Puerto Rico, I'm not familiar with all its problems, but, they have a government. Like the U.S., national government is probably the least of their concerns. Like they have mayors, they have people running the country that are doing sneaky stuff where it's like, I'm sure a lot of the problems of Puerto Rico come from within versus just nationally what's going on. Because this is another thing, too. Like everyone always says, help me, help me. Oh, the government needs to help. Oh, this happened and the government needs to help. Sure, they can help. And it would be nice if they did help and send money to Ukraine. But at the end of the day, people got to help themselves. Like, what's the government? Is the government going to fix Seattle and turn it in? Like, can Trump do that? Can Kamala do that? Can she fix Seattle? Can Trump fix Los Angeles? No, Los Angeles needs to figure itself out and elect better people because locally they have a lot more power than any national influence. So I would assume that Puerto Rico is similar, where most of what's going on there can be fixed the same way. Like Trump's not going to change Portland, Oregon. Someone said, F Puerto Rico, if you love your home country so bad. Puerto Rico is not a country. Puerto Rico is America. So, I mean, you're just stupid. You don't have to like Puerto Rico, but it's like, that would be like being like, screw Hawaii. If you like Hawaii so bad, why don't you move to a different country? It's like Hawaii's in America. Puerto Rico is part of America. It's not officially a state, but it is America. So you're what people hate about Republicans. Like everybody thinks Republicans are dumb. And when they're talking about dumb Republicans, they're talking about people like you. They go back to, if you hate it so bad, go back to your country. It's like, it's part of our country, literally. But it's like, you could have your qualms with Puerto Rico and everywhere, but it's just like, this is why people tune out of politics, because they look at both sides of politics and they're like, yo, these people are awful. Like, let me just play tennis or something. If you like Alaska so much, why don't you move out of America back to Alaska? This is America. This is the mainland. You like Alaska so bad, why don't you move to your country? It's like, we own Alaska. We do? Oh. Do they like Trump there? Yeah. Oh, MAGA. I love it. It's the greatest place. Oh, but no, they voted for Kamala. Oh, they're communists. Someone said F Guam too. Yeah. Let's look up all of US's colonies or like, islands and places it owns and just curse them off. You're like, Taiwan, F that place. You're like, oh, okay. I don't know if we own Taiwan, but we're fighting China over it. So maybe. Someone said Trump is being influenced by end times fanatics that believe there must be a World War III before the Messiah comes and Christians are playing along the third temple. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about that thoroughly. I probably shouldn't for this conversation because it's not necessarily relevant. But yeah, Christian Zionism is a huge part of Republican politics and conservative ideology. And it wasn't always. And causation is not correlation. But since it's been in conservative and American policies, the Conservative Party has just completely collapsed and pretty much has been able to conserve almost nothing. First two amendments, but everything else, not really. Anyway, Hawaii is a legally occupied sovereign nation, no treaty or annexation. Yeah, I think that's true. It's just the American government's so powerful that they don't really, listen to the treaty, unfortunately. But I like Hawaii. I like it a lot. I respect their sovereignty, but our military has so many operations in Hawaii. Do they pay federal taxes in Puerto Rico? That's a good question. Look it up. They have tax loopholes. That's why Jake Paul moved there. So I'm not familiar with the Puerto Rico tax code, but I believe they get some pretty crazy tax breaks for whatever reason. Someone said Democrats ruin Puerto Rico. It's definitely possible, but then you got to ask, like, why are people voting for it? Like, for example, I don't want to get too controversial because I was just trying to have fun today, but say you go to a city that has a lot of crime, a lot of poverty, and it's run by Democrats, and a majority of the population in those areas are, let's just say minorities, even though I hate that word, but everybody will, like, this is like a Republican talking point. They'll be like, it's the Democrats. It's like, well, who's electing the Democrats? And I'm not asking you to blame a whole group of people, but like, I'm so tired of this watered down Republican, like the Democrats destroyed Puerto Rico. I'm sure the people there keep voting for it. So it's like, are they not responsible for their own vote? Are they not responsible for their own actions? And, in some of these cities, I'll say this because it's just what I believe to be true. I understand the government can mess you over. Obviously, historic and systemic things exist, and I'm not downplaying what happens. But at the end of the day, you have to decide what type of neighborhood you want to live in. And if you go to these neighborhoods, too many people destroy everything. They destroy the liquor store. They destroy, like, they don't allow for anything to flourish because they're not, they don't act right. So it's like no amount of people could help you if you can't even help yourself. And then when you look at the culture and really the media and what people consider that ethnic culture, I don't believe that's what their culture should be or what it really was before they got brainwashed. But it's like they gatekeep that. Like, if you talk to LeBron James, have you ever heard him say, like, hey, if you live in the hood, like, stop destroying all these stores and stop acting crazy, because then nobody can ever build in these neighborhoods and we're never going to have a nice area? No, he makes excuses. He blames the cops. He blames white people. He acts like there's nothing else that anyone else could do, yet he wouldn't want to live there because he knows it's not safe. He would never walk down the streets in a gold chain in the hood. He'd get robbed. But so it's like, everybody can blame everybody in the Democrat. Who's electing them? Who's operating in those neighborhoods that way? Like, at a certain point, there's a difference between not getting help from the government and just not acting right. And people need to act right, and they need to raise their kids right and tell their community and their people that this is no way to act, because it doesn't matter how much money or who you elect. If you act that way, you're going to elect the worst party. And if you act that way, nobody's going to want to start a business there. You could get all the government grants in the world, and it's not going to be nice or clean or safe. So when it comes to a place like Puerto Rico, I'm not 1,000% familiar with everything that's going on there, but you can't just blame the political party like it's the Democrats destroying it. It's the people there voting for them, and also it's like, even if they voted a Republican, what Republican would they vote in? Is that guy going to change the country? Like, I believe that government obviously matters, but I am a firm believer in culture and people. That's why the people who run the world, who are trying to destroy you, they hate nationalism, because a nation is a culture. It's a group of people. And if they can water down the group of people in a nation, then you have no culture, and they replace your culture with pornography, usury, and degeneracy, and, abortion, and just like satanic music. And it's like, now everybody's like dying and fat, and they're making money off pharmaceuticals. So in general, I think everybody needs to take accountability and responsibility, because I talk about this all the time, so I want to move on to something maybe more pleasant. The Democrats are a huge problem. We can identify that every day, but a lot of these Republicans that you listen to on podcasts that say Democrats, 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 they're not telling you the full story, and they're the fake opposition. They're watering you down in the same direction because they don't want to have difficult conversations that are too edgy, which are true, and the reason for our decline. And as I presented in yesterday's argument, 9 out of 10 of these people are literally working hand in hand, either knowingly or unknowingly, to lead you in the same direction as all the left-wing donors that they claim that they're fighting. It's all just a big clown show. And I'm sure there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in Puerto Rico too. Of course there are. What are they? I don't know, because I don't live there. But, I don't think Trump or Kamala is going to fix Puerto Rico, and I don't think Trump or Kamala is going to fix Los Angeles, and I don't think Trump or Kamala is going to fix Seattle, and I don't think Trump or Kamala is going to fix Dallas or fix Austin or fix New York City, because or San Francisco, like these cities need to take accountability. There's nothing Trump can really do unless he like declared some sort of like, unless he went like full wild on it. I'm sure he doesn't care enough to even want to do that. But someone said the rhinos are just as bad as Cheney's and Bush's. But when people, this is what I'll say as well. Rhino's a cool word because it means like Republican in name only, like you're a Democrat in disguise. But let's not even use the word rhino and just say Republicans suck too. Like this rhino word, it almost makes people think only Democrats are bad. Republicans have always sucked. Just because Trump became a Republican 7 years ago and you like Trump, it doesn't mean the party doesn't suck. The party does suck. Our Speaker of the House is compromised, just like Nancy Pelosi. They're all compromised except for Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is the only not compromised Republican. So let's throw out this idea that they're Republican. They are Republicans. Republicans just suck. They're not real, So I like them better than Democrats. They're worth voting for, but it's not like people will be like, oh, I like this podcast because he points out Dan Crenshaw and, like Paul Ryan. And it's like, these people are not rhinos, but these people are fake Republicans. They're dual loyalty Republicans, or they are controlled opposition Republicans, and they make their living going Trump, 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 and then they point to the side. People like Sebastian Gorka, he just rides Trump's coattails. Yet, if you look at his foreign policy, he has the same foreign policy in many cases as all the neocons. He constantly smears Americans who don't have loyalty to a foreign country that he wants to start a war for, and he'll work against you just as hard as a liberal will work against you. So it's like, just because he likes Donald Trump and he was in his administration, it doesn't mean he's a rhino fighter, because he knows to just trick a bunch of naive Trump supporters. You just point to like Dick Cheney and be like, Dick Cheney sucks, huh? And then everybody like buys your book on Fox News. But that's the game that's being played. So it's very complex when you get down to it. And it's very evil genius. It's just like the pandemic. Like everything during the pandemic, it was brilliant, like very high IQ maneuvers, but not good, but so hard to explain to somebody that doesn't know what's going on. So what is hard to explain to Republicans is Republicans that like Trump, they think they know so much because they're like, well, I hate the Democrats and I know that, George Bush lied now. But it's like, wait till you figure out what's really going on. And 95% of the people that you're worshiping are not who you think they are, And it's like, all this will be revealed. So I'm in no rush. When I said this in 2019, I explained it. People looked at me like I had 1,000 heads. Now it's become mainstream conversation because I was just ahead of the curve when people were not ready for that information. So it's like, I'm not here to smear someone's character or put somebody down, but wait till you figure out what Trump's really doing. I said in my show yesterday, Trump pardoned a foreign spy and sent a foreign spy home on his donor's jet. Like, that's crazy, right? But nobody even knows about it. People go, why doesn't Kamala talk about it? Because she's in on it too. They're all one big party. And, I don't even want to get into that right now, but you'll figure it out eventually. Just hopefully it's not too late. Someone said, yes, the president's not going to change the states. The voters need to change. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know how to say this. Let me try to really think about it before I just say something. We've been told for hundreds of years, everything that they were doing was wrong. The founding fathers were brilliant, but they were wrong about this and they were wrong about this. And this was bad and that was bad and this is bad. And we changed it. Now we're more progressive and now we're more liberal and this is better. And now we're free and this and that. And it's like, a lot of that stuff, not all of it, but a lot of it is not what they told you it was. So it's like, we're so far detached from what would work that in order to get back there, it's nearly impossible, because not only is the average Democrat not ready to hear it, the average Republican's not ready to hear it. Like, Republicans think they're so woke or awake or whatever, not woke, but it's like 95% of them would freak out at you if you ever told them like a basic truth about something they weren't ready to hear. So it's like, this country, like we're so watered down, just like the average male that's like younger is watered down and soy boy and feminized. So is American culture. So are Republicans. So I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a colorful shirt. Back in the 1920s, they would have slapped me in the head and said, "Put on a suit." I'm part of the problem. But jokes aside, like, what needs to be done to make this country what it was or what it could be and like prosperous, we're so far from that all Trump could do is, he could do a great job, and he's definitely the right guy for the time. Like, there's nobody else there right now, but he's not going to do what needs to be done. I don't believe. I hope he can do some stuff. But it's not his fault. It's like people are not ready for what needs to be done. When people are ready for what needs to be done, then it will be done. But until people get themselves there, then it's not going to happen. That's why I feel like if a politician inspires you in the right direction, then it's a beautiful thing. But if a politician inspires you and then keeps you in a position that's not going to benefit you for the future, then they become controlled opposition, whether they know they are or not, or they're trying to be, because it's like, people, we're not where we need to be. And I think the truth is so controversial that the only thing that's going to happen at this point is just like a mitigation of the issues. But a lot of people are figuring stuff out. I think artificial intelligence, although it's crazy, I think in many ways it's going to escalate the pendulum swinging back in some ways. So I'm not really afraid or scared, because life is what it is. Like you don't want to live a life and think like, oh, I wish this and I wish that. Sure, there's a lot of things that would be great, but grab life by the horns. Let's just take the moment as it is and appreciate it while working in the right direction. NY Chillboy said you sound like Kamala. Bro, that's the meanest thing anybody's ever said to me this week. Do I sound like this?
I was like, Mommy, the thing about this. I always wanted to go to Howard, and I went.
Do I sound like that? If you talk about complex issues, then people are like, you sound like a Democrat. So that's why, like, I understand business-wise. I am a businessman, but I'm more like passion first, real first, and then I'll get my business done because I'm financially stable, so I don't need to like stress over it. But I was always that way. Even when I was broke, I was ready to live on the streets if I had to preserve my soul. That's how I got here. But in general, it's like, I get why people feed people poison. I wouldn't do it, but it's like people want that. They get mad when you try to feed them good stuff. They get mad at you when you try to explain them what's really going on. Like, I'm better. I would probably make 10 times more money if I just put on a MAGA hat and I just yelled MAGA, 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 and I did what Right Side Broadcasting did. I just trailed the Trump rallies and just went Trump, Trump, Trump. That's a business-wise, that's a smarter business, because there's hundreds of millions of people who just want you to talk about the left. They don't want to know who in their camp is leading them towards speech laws, who in their camp is essentially carving out a world where you're not allowed to question the elites that are controlling everything in your society. That's most of the Republican Party. Like, so it is what it is, but it's like my business model over the last 2 years is not like, if I had stocks or something, I wouldn't even be able to do what I'm doing because it's not the most profitable route. And that's what a lot of news companies are doing. They have dozens of employees. They need to make a certain amount of dollar to feed everybody. Me, I could take a 3-month vacation and all the money I'm losing, there's no one else losing it. So I can afford to do that. But that's why I keep my business this way. I wouldn't want to build a business where I felt like I had to do something I didn't believe in order to like feed someone else. So it's pros and cons of both sides, but that's why a lot of people don't give you everything that you want, because they just can't, like, from a business standpoint. The real question is, did I win the Cruise B-ball tourney? I did not. I didn't play in it. I played ping pong, and I was pretty proud of myself because I beat 2 people that brought their own rackets. If you play ping pong and you play on a cruise, they give you the little dinky rackets. Somebody's good when they bring a racket on a cruise. And I beat 2 Asian elders that had like a real professional racket. And I beat them, and I'm like, I'm going to win this tournament. And then some Persian dad just kicked my ass. I don't even know how he was serving, but like, he was just some fat Persian dad who, like, I was like, I'm going to beat this guy. And he was like, I was like, bro, like, it had such crazy spin. I just put my racket there and it would like bounce to the side. I was like, bro, this guy's on steroids. I was like, drug test this man. This man speaking a foreign language. He might be. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I got my ass beat by a Persian dad, but I went 2-1. Beat 2 Asian elders with their own racket, lost to the Persian dad just fucking around. But I did good in dodgeball, though. It was dodgeball, and it was like 6-on-1, and I was the one, and I caught a few balls, got some players in. Yeah, that was fun, but I didn't play basketball. I like trivia, too. I've become a trivia-aholic. I'm not going to say smart, but I'm not educated enough now to be on Jeopardy. Like, I don't know enough stuff. Like, I'm not a super genius when it comes to trivia, but I want to be. So, and maybe I don't have like the photographic memory to do that, because I think you have to have an element of that to be good at chess or something. But I become a trivia-aholic. I love playing trivia. I love questions. I've always liked words. Like, anytime I play games with people, like anagrams, flipping words around, like Scrabble, I love all that sort of stuff. So I kind of, one day I'd love to be on Jeopardy. I'm just not smart enough right now, but I'm trying to really like study everything so I could really like make a push. Cause I think Jeopardy is so cool. Like, if you win on Jeopardy, like, I know that's like nerdy, but I just think it's so cool. Like, you're so smart, you know so many things, and you win money. Like, you get to talk to that Jennings guy. It's a good time. Someone said fat dads are underrated. Dude, if your dad's not fat, I mean, if your dad's in shape, that's cool, but fat dads, it's just, you can't look past them, you know? Fat dads, they still have a fourth quarter in them. Let's just put it that way. Someone said, you need to know random stuff to win trivia. That's where I shine. Random stuff, geography, history, you know, you need to know everything. I know sports and music, which is lame because that's like the dumbest topics, you know? It's like, but I know a lot of sports. I know a lot of music. I got to get smarter. I should have been a Q decoder. You're just trying to bait me to do. All right. We going Q on them? Listen, Patriots, if you donate your, hold on. I gotta get my headphones. I'm about to like pull the plug on my whole show by mistake, messing around. But all right, let's do it. Okay. Headphones. Let's just do a Q decoding session. Headphones, phone. Who invented the phone? Alexander Graham Bell. Who else's name is Bell? Le'Veon Bell, who's at Trump rallies right now. He might be JFK Jr., even though he's black. JFK Jr. is black. JFK banged a black woman. Oh my gosh, his real son he's alive. He's at a Trump rally. Psych. I was just throwing you off to see how foolish you were, to see who's Democrats in disguise. So now that we have Le'Veon Bell, what else has Bell in it? Bellhop. Oh, Trump Tower Hotel. He used to own a post office in Washington, D.C. But let's not go to D.C. because Trump sold the tower. So we go back to Bellhop, and now we go hop. What else do we hop? Frogger hopped, but that's an arcade game, and I'm not playing games. I'm a Q decoder. Give me all your money, and I'll lead you in circles like the Bolsheviks did for the counter intel. But anyway, hopscotch. Spirits, alcohol, spirits, hopscotch. Scotch is a spirit you drink. That's what alcohol is. They're really demons. Who else is a demon? Satan. Satan's QAnon. Anyway, it's just one of my many impressions. I'll be here all day, folks. I never got the call in Hollywood, so I started my own YouTube channel. I hope you guys subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. You know, we're really building a movement here. Am I educated enough to talk about who's buying our real estate? Rich people, Saudis, Chinese people with billions of dollars? I don't know. Is that the right answer or no? Is that wrong? Am I right? Is it right to be wrong? Is it wrong to be right? Am I right, folks? I read the documents. It's real. Dude, I read the documents, but remember, Patriots, you're too dumb to know what I know. So I got to talk to you like your baby's eating Gerber food, and I'll decode it for you. Like a bird eating a worm and giving it to the little newborn. It's like, all right, dude, relax. BlackRock? Dude, you can't talk about BlackRock anymore. It's anti-Semitic. So I don't even know what BlackRock is. I've never heard of it. Because the leader, the guy who owns BlackRock is a person who must not be named. Zelensky's funder was building some of the largest blank facilities in the world, and now BlackRock's going to rebuild Ukraine. So I don't talk about any of that stuff because it's all anti-Semitic. So I'm against hate speech. I'm against racism, sexism, xenophobia, climate denial, conspiracy theories, anti-vaccine. I'm against all of it. I mean, anybody who even talks, like once a word comes out their mouth, I just sit there and I go, because I'm just like, I know they're going to say something offensive. And my favorite Republicans are 95% of Republicans, where they're like, you know, the left says racism and sexism and xenophobia in order to stop the conversation and censor speech. And I'm like, yeah. And then the second, like, Candace Owens says something, they go, oh my gosh, that's so hateful. Oh, you should be, you know, those are my favorite Republicans because they're really crushing. They don't want to give our money overseas. They want to give our money overseas to the other country because it's totally different, because the only way Jesus can come back is if we work with the people who want to blow everything up or something. Anyway, where were we, my friends? Give me an applause if you're still with me. You following? Appreciate it. Thank you guys. You guys are too kind. For real. Seriously, stop. Seriously, quiet down. Like a little too loud. Don't clap that much again. I mean, unless you guys really like me, then I'll take one more. Seriously, no, like I'm not joking. Like you guys got to stop. Like you're ruining the show at this point. It's kind of pissing me off, but I appreciate it though. Someone said I love these shows. It's a dang shame they deplatform you. I've been doing all right recently. It kind of comes in waves, so I think there's enough competition now that it seems like for now they've kind of chilled on certain things. I try to carefully word what I'm saying too. You know, I try to, I know how to play the game, or I try to play the game, not to censor myself, but it's like, if I live in a country where you can't say certain things and there's certain laws and rules and they're, you know, policing them, then I'll just be like, I can't say it, you know, and then I'm saying everything I need to say without saying it, because the fact that I'm saying that makes it obvious what I'm, you know, I like to play little games. I like chess. I like word games. Like I like a little Wordle. I like anything. I like Squirtle. I always liked Charmander more because then he turned into Charizard. That was my favorite Pokemon, but Squirtle was cool too. Bulbasaur, yeah, he's a little fat for me. You know, I'm not trying to shame like fat animals, but I was like, he's got a big thing on his, I don't know, Bulbasaur. I feel like every kid that started with Bulbasaur instead of Charmander, they ended up turning out gay. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. It's a joke, folks. I'm not at MSG. Luckily, this won't be a headline, but that's just a joke. Not every kid who chose Bulbasaur turned out gay. But if they did, it would be funny. But it wouldn't be funny because it's a really serious issue, and I'm going to go on my Macklemore apology tour now, and I'm just going to listen to Macklemore on loop until I, you know, hate my old self, which was 10 minutes ago. And then maybe I'll turn into Gregg Popovich and I'll be like, the problem on YouTube is there's a bunch of white guys that are allegedly part Puerto Rican that wear colorful shirts. That's the problem. And you're like, are you talking about yourself? And he's like, no. I'm talking about the other old white man. It's like, dude, shut up. Someone said music and sports are the two I'm terrible at. We got to team up on a cruise. The more people you got in trivia, the better, because then you could bring everybody's minds together, you know, and you create essentially a, what do they call it in politics? A think tank. You create a think tank. Dude, that's where the real money is in politics. Like, you guys, I'm not saying you're lucky, but like, lucky I don't care about that stuff, because it's like, join my think tank. I'll give you $5 million to sell out to a foreign country, and we could just think and, give our money to donors. It's like, that's where all the real money is, and nonprofits and all that stuff. I'm just like, get away from me. I don't want to be. It's like, I work for the Manhattan Institute. I'm part of the Society of the Cordell Weston Foundation. It's like, all right, bro, we're sure you are. Like, we're part of it. The Claremont Foundation. It's like, who are these people? It's like, I know people who work for some of them. Like, I don't, I'm sure some of them do some good work and they push like conservative values maybe, but I don't understand it all. I'm like, what's going on? Anomaly, I feel like you'd be good at jiu-jitsu. I'm not good at jiu-jitsu because I don't do it, but not trying to brag, but I'm incredibly athletic. I think pretty much any sport, I feel like I could thrive if I practice and stuff. So I think I'm good at tennis. I'm good at basketball. I'm really good at soccer. If I ever wanted to fight, I think I could be good, but fighting's a brutal sport. Even jiu-jitsu, like, I don't feel like, what's it called when you get that staph infection? Like, I'm too like retired now. I'm like, I don't want to get staph infection. I'm not trying to be rolling around with no guys. You know, maybe if it were with women and stuff, I'd do jujitsu. It's like if I had a really hot coach, I'm like, wait, actually I do want to do jujitsu. Let's do it. But with dudes, I don't know. Not right now. Not into that. Cauliflower ear. I'm not a fighter. Make a clip of this Pokemon rant so I could send it to my son. You make it. I don't know. I just said if I liked Charmander. I don't know. I don't think you want to show your son that. You're like, son, if you choose Bulbasaur, you're going to turn out gay. What if he chose Bulbasaur? You're going to scar the kid for life. This is an adult show. Do not show your son this. Let him play Pokemon, all right? Innocently. What's my election night predictions? I think Trump's going to win. They're going to pause the vote and just drag it out forever. And I think Trump's still going to win. But I don't know. I think Trump's running a good campaign and Kamala's not. I don't want to roll with Mark Zuckerberg. No, I don't. I mean, like, it would be cool to learn jiu-jitsu and fighting skills. I do boxing and Muay Thai a little bit. Like, I fight, but I don't know. I don't feel like rolling around personally, but I'm not knocking it. Like, I have a lot of friends that are good at it. I just, like, I'm too old to be like starting new things now, you know, like it's not like I'm giving up on life or anything, but I already play soccer. I play basketball. I play tennis. I play 10 different sports. I like doing a bunch of stuff already. Like, do I need to learn another sport? I don't know. I'm more just trying to lean into the sports I play and like already than like try to become good at something new. Like, I spent my whole life trying to be, you know, great at soccer. So it's like, I am great at soccer. If I start jiu-jitsu, I'm going to suck. So I'm not like afraid of sucking. I don't want to take on a whole new venture in that department right now. Do I have a video talking about who's buying the real estate? Who's buying real estate? Rich people that must not be named, Arabs, and I don't know, rich Asian people that come here from China and other countries with billions of dollars and buy entire like developments, and BlackRock, obviously. But I don't know, you know, I know like Arab people that own entire blocks. They just take their rich Saudi type money over here, buy stuff. Because we have rules. Other countries don't allow foreign people to do so much, but America, it's just like take all our stuff. So anybody with money could take over America or like take over real estate. I don't know. It's just the truth. I don't play lacrosse. Like, I never played lacrosse. Are you just trying to say I'm super white? You're like, you look like a lacrosse player. It's like, just say I look really white today, because you don't have to make these like veiled accusations of Caucasianness to me. Like, you look like you like lacrosse and mayonnaise and you don't use seasoning on your food. I'm like, we know what you're referring to, you racist. Water polo. That looks like a fun sport. You got to be really good to play water polo in order to like stay afloat. You got to be really strong, have good cardio. I love sports though. That's why when I was listening to Trump on Joe Rogan, I was like, this guy's having a good time with life. You know, anybody that's having fun, like, you could just feel the passion. I like anybody that's great at what they do, you know, sports, music, art, performance. It's all fun. You look white. Oh, I appreciate it. Is that a compliment or a diss? I can't tell. It depends who you are. If you're a Democrat, that could be like a life sentence. If you're, you know, a Republican, that could be a compliment. But thank you. I do think the lighting tends to make me look different. Someone said, I don't like rolling on the floor. Sports are just for me. Yeah, I have friends that are great at jiu-jitsu. I just don't want to. Do I play squash? I do, actually. Yeah, squash, wall ball, or what's the other one called? Squash and racquetball. Is it racquetball? Yeah, I love squash and racquetball. I look Italian or Latino. I'm both. I'm Italian, I'm Polish, I'm Czechoslovakian, and I'm Puerto Rican. But my Puerto Rican grandma has other things that I'm not. I don't want to take a DNA test, so I'm not 100% sure. But I'm at least 4 different things. So I look like that because I am all those things. That's why I could like blend in. You know, I could go to Italian and be like, "Mamma mia," and they're like, "Oh, he's one of us." And then I could go to Puerto Rico and be like, you know, "Como te llamas?" You know, and I speak a little Spanish, and they think I'm one of them. And then, I dress up liberal and I go to like a Kamala rally and I'm like, yeah, this is so fun. We're going to keep abortions. And then everybody thinks I'm them too. And then I go to a Trump rally and I'm like, these damn liberals are really taking over our school system, making my kids gay. It's like, I could kind of, I don't actually do that, but it's kind of funny. My race is American. My nationality is American, but I don't really think American is a race unless you're like an American Indian, in my opinion. I think race and nation can be the same and can be different. But I think America, obviously, you had Native Americans, you had black people, which some black people are actually native, in my opinion. They're not all from Africa, but that's a history that's not told. But a lot of my black friends know that because they talk to their ancestors. Kyrie Irving talks about that. My friend Chip the Rip talks about that, or King Chip. But at the beginning, I think most immigrants were coming from Europe. So the idea was that America was going to be like a European type country. And then at a certain point, I think it was JFK or something, or maybe RFK, I'm not sure, but they passed some sort of bill where they're like, we're just a melting pot. And it's like, okay, but America was a nation, but everyone had different races, but they kind of had like a similar identity to some extent. But like, is race nation? America, it's almost impossible for America to be like that because America is not that old. But Irish, their race is their nation. German, their race is their nation. It's Italy, their race is their nation. America, it never really could be that. The best they could do, or what they were trying to do, I think, or what they were going for, was like they were trying to make America a European nation where everybody kind of shared somewhat race, but not really, That's my opinion, at least. So I think race can be the same as nation, but it's not always the case. In America, it's like an experiment. And I'm not saying like, oh, I agree with every experimentation they've ever done or like whatever. We're not a real nation. Like we were a nation, but it's like, it was always kind of an experiment. You had the First Amendment, you had the Second Amendment. You're bringing in people from multiple countries. You got Native Americans there. They have black people. Like America's always been kind of crazy, in my opinion. Like it's not like Italy. It's just like Italy. You know what you're getting. America, it's like George Washington was just like, fuck it, let's just try this out, And then here we are. Now they're trying to make your kids gay. It's not my fault. Thomas Jefferson didn't ask for this. I think it was called the Hart-Celler Act or something, the immigration flip, but I don't know. America's a cool place. I like it. Could be better, could be worse, but someone said 100% Serbian. That's awesome. Serbians are cool, mainly because I like Jokovic and Jokic, That's why I love sports too. It's like when someone's great, it doesn't matter where you're from. It just makes it raises awareness. Like I know a lot about Serbia now because of Jokic and Jokovic. These are two of my favorite athletes. They're dominating their sports. It's incredible. Same with like anyone great from anywhere. Like it doesn't matter if you're from Africa or here. Like I just like watching people crush at something. There's something like cool about that. So that's how you stop racism. It's not by crying. It's not by lying. It's not by being a snowflake. It's not by being a hypocrite. It's not by demanding special speech laws. You end racism by just being cool and being likable and being honest. And then everybody could do that. But we don't live in that world. So everybody just cries all the time and wants special laws for themselves. But someone said Pakistanis are good at Tekken. That's the weirdest stereotype I've heard all year. I don't know that that's true, but I think that's a funny stereotype. Like you should just go to some, everyone's being like racist or something. And you're like, yo, Pakistanis, I'm just tired of how good they are at Tekken. You know what I'm saying? These Pakistanis are taking over our Tekken jobs. And everyone's like, what? You talk about the video game, the Marvel game? You're like, yeah, dude, they crush at it. And it really pisses me off. They're like, okay, let's get back to how the Mexicans are taking. There's a skit in there somewhere. Anyway, that's the funniest stereotype I've ever heard. You are not a hater. Thank you, Israel. I appreciate it. I agree, but everybody hates something else. I'm not a hateful person, so I know myself, so you can't really trick me. But some people, they are like ethnocentric in the sense of like they do like their people and they do actually hate other people. And that exists in the world, but only some people are allowed to do it and some people aren't, which just creates this weird world that we live in. But I'm not a hater. Like I know the difference between like what I want, what I am, where I want to live, and then like everything. Just because you talk about race and ethnicity, it doesn't mean you hate other people. Some people do hate other people. Like that does exist. I don't though. I don't hate a single country. I don't hate any group of people. Like I think the world is cool and God planned it this way for a reason. And there's great people from everywhere. That doesn't mean that I want to import 100,000 people from some random place and drop them off in Ohio like that. That doesn't mean you hate people. It just doesn't make sense. It's like if a bunch of white people just went to like a black area and was like, hey, I want to own everything now. And I want you to work at like CBS. And they're like, I don't want to work at CBS. And you're like, oh, what are you, just racist? It's like, no, that's a weird example, but everyone uses these words. The left uses racist, sexist, xenophobic, and they just lie about it. And then the right uses anti-Semitic in the same way. And they just try to brainwash a bunch of people into thinking that, every valid argument ever is anti-Semitic so they can keep funding the country that gets hundreds of billions of our dollars to fight their wars. So, it is what it is, but I'm not a hateful person. And in fact, most of the people that will say that I am, they are usually projecting where like they hate my ethnicity, they hate my religion, and they hate the fact that I know what's going on. They hate the fact that I want the First Amendment. They hate the fact that I'm not controlled. They hate the fact that I'm not a slave. So it's like, their hate is projecting onto me. It's like, I don't hate them. I don't look at countries and be like, oh, it's like, it is what it is. I didn't create this world. I don't run a country. I'm not Gaddafi. I'm not Trump. So it's just my opinion. It's not like I have that much say in what's going on anyway. Someone said, born again Christians, born again into this new group. Sorry, I missed that part. Who's with me? Straight men for, all right, bro, you're getting weird with it, but whatever. You do your homework. I love that. Thank you, Israel. Appreciate you. Israel's an interesting name because like there's a lot of like, you could be Israeli, you could be black. I've met white people named Israel. Like Israel's kind of like Jesus. Like you always meet like Hispanics named Jesus, but you never meet white people named Jesus. Israel, like I've met black people named Israel. I've met like Hispanic people named Israel actually. I don't know. Do Israelis call themselves Israel? Can somebody tell me in the comments, like, is Israel an Israeli name? I've seen Mexicans with it. I've seen black people with it. I've seen random Caucasians with it, but I'm just curious. Someone said, nationalism is where you reside, some from birth, and you usually support their ideology. Ancestry is where your family originated. The good thing about the U.S., you can have both while assimilating. Well, that's where America took a turn, is everybody used to assimilate. That was the kind of like trade-off. It's like you can come from your countries, but you have to assimilate and be American. And then at a certain point, I don't know what happened to the country, but they're like, don't assimilate, and everybody's hateful and everybody's racist. And it's like, I don't know at what point that started happening, but yeah, America was a place where everyone knew they were supposed to assimilate. Now, not the case. What do I think about black Israelites? Good question to get me in trouble 1 minute and 1 hour and 13 into the conversation. What do I think about black Israelites? The ones I've seen on the street are just a little off-putting. They're always yelling at everybody and being angry. And it's like, dude, you could say you're the real Jew or something without being so angry. Because when you're so angry, it makes like I'm not somebody that cares what you're saying. Like I don't like a street performer or something. Like it's the same with some Christians. They're annoying on the streets, but like the black Hebrew Israelites, they used to be in Hollywood. They were just so angry all the time, and they'd always hold sticks and just be screaming at people. Like why are you screaming? It's just like when those like angry Christian groups just start yelling at everybody, like you're going to go to hell. It's like, how do you know? How do you know who you're even talking to? Like I'm fine with spreading God's word, even aggressively, but like, they're just accusing random people of stuff they don't even know. So it's like the black Hebrew Israelites, they're just a little too angry. Nothing they say could offend me because I literally don't care, but their energy is just kind of like dark and angry. With that being said, I don't like, there's people like Kyrie Irving who shared the documentary, don't care. Kanye West says he's a real Jew. I know Jewish people don't like it, or some do, some don't. I don't know. I don't care. So the ideology, I don't know much about the Black Israelite ideology, but the street people are a little off-putting personally. But it's their vibes and their energy on the street. They were always just like yelling at everybody. I was like, what if some of those people like you? Why are you being so mean to them? Why you gotta be so rude? Don't you know I Hebrew too? that'd be funny if a Jewish guy went in front of Black Hebrew Israelites and he started singing that song. He's like, why you trying to be so rude? Don't you know I'm Hebrew too? And they're like, shut up. He's like, ah. He runs away. Anyway, I'm a skit factory. I got skits on skits in my head. Someone said Richard Pryor was the best. Was he a Black Hebrew Israelite? What does Richard Pryor have to do with this? But do I remember my debates with young Pharaoh? How could I forget? They were fascinating. Is blank the new blank word? I'm a real blank too. I don't know. I just gave so many fill in the blanks. Great talk, Anomaly. I'm American/Mexican. Oh, American/Mexican. Okay. I'm American/Peruvian. That's what's up. Thank you. Why am I being so blanky? Some blanky? I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I don't speak that language. Are you being sarcastic or not? I can't tell with the comments. Anomaly's on fire today with the jokes. I agree, dude. He's crushing it right now. Everyone should just throw their money at. I'm just kidding, but I'm fine. I just thought that was funny. You can't drop a hard blank in the comments. You can do whatever you want, but it's your life. I'm just filling in the blanks here. Do I hate the people who must not be named or what? Oh, you're being serious? No. Can you, since you're getting so upset, and I'm not mad at you, like people like you are interesting to me because I like to challenge myself or figure out what you're thinking. Why do you think I don't like the people that must not be named? Can you and take your time? Your name is like Bubby Shubby. Take your time. Make sense. Like, why do you think I hate the people that must not be named? Like, why? I just want to hear your argument because I don't, not at all. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Okay. I didn't know. I mean, if you weren't, I wasn't even mad. I'm just trying to figure it out. Cause then I like people that are just straightforward. Then I could get to what part of what I said do you think? And then I can try to explain myself. But when people just say you're being hateful. And then I'm like, at what part? They're like, it's just so much hate. Like, which part? They're like, the hate. And I'm like, but which part? They're like, and I'm like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. Anomaly, yesterday you were talking about Alex Jones. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it didn't sound good. Jones calls out people like Rothschild by his name. Isn't that what we actually want? I was kind of just doing a little skip, but I'm not here to tell you what you want or what we want. I don't know what you want or what people want. To give Alex a compliment, I don't know if he still sells stuff or toothpaste because I think he got in trouble during COVID for saying something about it. But I used to buy toothpaste from Alex Jones. I used to buy fluoride-free toothpaste. He has some good supplements and stuff. There's a lot of things that Alex does that I perceive as good. Other things, I think he acts dumb on certain topics and doesn't want to connect certain dots. And, maybe he does that. There's probably a reason for it. And, there's a lot of things I like about Alex Jones. There's a lot of things that I don't, but, I like a lot of people that work for him and I don't hate him or anything, but I do think he's a little too exaggeratory. Is that a word? He overhypes things. He's constantly screaming. He's constantly just making a spectacle. And then in my opinion, when it comes to the topic that you can really start and I'm not saying to blame everybody or whatever, but when you can really start connecting the dots of how this stuff's working, he acts completely stupid on the topic. So he probably does it to preserve himself in some sort of circles, but it's hard for me to take a guy seriously that talks about the elites in the deep state for 30, 40 years. And then when somebody comes on and makes a really, deep diving kind of conversation that Alex Jones doesn't want to have, he starts sounding like a Fox News host and he's on the defense and backpedaling as if he's like Jake Tapper or something. So I don't dislike Alex. I like Alex. I think there's a lot of cool things that he does, but yeah, I just can't listen to him. I don't take him that seriously, and I wouldn't subject myself to 10 minutes of him screaming, because it's like, where's it all going? You're angry, you're yelling, you're selling stuff. It's just like chaotic. It's just like raising my blood pressure. And then when it comes to like one of the biggest topics that is getting people thrown in jail in 21 different countries, and now it's getting people banned from traveling to countries, and it's like a huge puzzle piece to what's going on, he just majestically doesn't want to talk about it and has no idea about it. So I have a hard time wanting to subject myself to that personally. Someone said, you don't have to say you like someone just because you don't hate them. Well, I just told you what I thought. I mean, that's what I thought. I don't dislike him, and I don't want to be rude or anything, but that's just what I think. I just like straightforward too. He's always like playing games. He's like, Tuesday, I'm gonna release this big bombshell, blah blah blah. Like he's just always trying to like just make a big moment. But then when it comes to real moments that are actually like important and like very like connecting all the dots that he's been painting for 30 years, he just acts like stupid on that topic. So luckily none of his co-hosts do. So it's like if you wanna know what I'm talking about, just watch all his co-hosts, because they all talk about it way more than Alex does. He majestically just doesn't know anything about it. But I don't know why he does it or what's going on, or they like, I don't want to put a motive on it because I have no idea. There could be numerous reasons. It could be what someone believes. It could be how they operate. I don't know. It's just not for me at this point. Someone said conspiracy theorists look crazy. It's not his conspiracy theories that offend me, or like, that's not why. It's numerous things. Energetically, I don't feel good when I listen to him, because he's just constantly screaming. And like, I remember the last time I listened to him, I'll never forget, because I put it on in my shower. I have like a shower speaker, and his intro to his show was just so ridiculous and so stressful that I just turned it off. Not because he's saying conspiracy theories, but he's like, oh my gosh, World War III, we're going to blow up Nancy Pelosi, nuclear bomb. Like, he just was shouting every crazy buzzword to scare people possibly. And then he goes into an ad and then comes back, and there's no nukes being tried. Like, he's just constantly screaming and raising people's stress levels, So it's like the energy of it, no matter what he's talking about, I just don't like listening to him. I think he's funny on Joe Rogan when he's contained, but it just doesn't make my body feel good. I don't think it's healthy to listen to him personally. Someone said Alex Jones covered for Trump. Well, that's another thing too. It's like during the vaccines, he was all over the place. I can't take someone seriously that says like 5 different things on one topic, like, because then it's like, oh, look, he told me the truth. He said 5 different things. Of course he's going to be right, because he said Trump's pushing poison shots. Trump's not. He's pushing sugar water. He's tricked Bill Gates, blah, blah. Like, he says everything. So then it's like, look, he called out Trump. He didn't call out Trump. He says he's on Trump's side. He's going to endorse DeSantis. He's not. He's going to expose QAnon. He never did. Like, he's kind of a bullshitter. Like, he definitely tells the truth about a lot of stuff. He's definitely been on the front lines of conspiracy theories and stuff, and I respect him for that. But he's kind of a bullshitter, and he's kind of a pathological attention whore who just will do and say anything to make a headline. Like, I can't take someone seriously that's crying about the vaccines and saying they're the worst thing in the world. And then he's covering for Trump, making up literally a fake theory that Trump's ushering out sugar water to beat the Bill Gates vaccine. Like, that's not real. He lied about that. He knows he lied about that. So it's like, what are his motives for doing that? Why would I listen to somebody that does that? Like, how would that educate me? I think if you listen to him every day, like, you're going to drive yourself insane. Your blood pressure is going to raise. You're going to be stressed out. And at the end of the day, you're not even like getting anywhere with it, because when it comes to an overarching topic of what's really going on and what's really connecting the dots, he doesn't seem to want to talk about that very much. He all of a sudden turns into like somebody that's afraid to have conversations about edgy topics when it comes to the main, order that we're basically living under in this country. But it's whatever. That's just my, I don't even feel like going into this, because then I just sound like a hater or a dick or something, where it's like, he seems to me at least like a nice guy, and like someone that would be fun to hang out with and talk to. But yeah, I guess from a entertainment or a listening standpoint, I would no longer not really into it. But it's like Eminem for me. Like Eminem was so inspirational to me growing up, but like now I wouldn't listen to his music, you know? He's not as bad as Eminem, but I'm just saying. What do I think about Eminem endorsing Kamala? That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I dump it on Donald Trump? Probably not. Should I do it? Awfully what? Kamala's pop? Oh man, I'm smoking dolls with Tim Walz. Oh my gosh, my balls. I'm grabbing my balls. I'm yelling at my mom. Oh my gosh, I'm mad at my wife. Oh my gosh, in my car I put a knife. It's like, all right, dude. I don't know. No, it was lame, and I don't know. I'm over Eminem. Sorry about that. Eminem's new name is Ding Dong. Someone said, why is it Ding Dong? That's kind of funny. Ice-T just did too. Ice-T endorsed Kamala. Ice-T, let's look it up. Ice-T endorsed Kamala. Wow. After we, let's see. I can't find it, but whatever. He did endorse her, it looks like. I got news for you. Do you? Morning from Australia, Anomaly. Hello, mate. Hello, mate. Trying to go to Australia at some point, but I might get banned from the country. We'll see. Hopefully not. I would love to go to Australia, but looks like the West is under control by something that you can't even say it's under control by, because then you'll get banned. And by getting banned, by talking about the control, proves that there's no control, because when you get banned for saying something, that totally proves that there's nothing there. Raza Ideal Tendency said, we know you're not a hater, you're a lover, keep spreading awareness. Awfully hot coffee pot. Thank you. Dude, $4.99. I could get an awfully hot coffee cup. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably, bruh. Oh my gosh. I eat M&Ms at a movie theater. Oh my gosh. I saw Trump sitting down. It's really weirder. Oh my gosh. Trump has a beard. You're like, dude, that's the sickest thing I've ever heard. Kamala is going to become a preacher if she loses. I don't know. A preacher for who? What religion wants Kamala Harris? I don't know. What church is going to have her there? She's going to become she's going to go to a mosque and she's going to be an imam, and she'll be like, I've been an imam my whole life. And then she's going to go to a synagogue and she's going to be a rabbi, and she's like, I love the Talmud. I read it every day. And then she's going to go to a church and she's like, I'm a pastor. Yeah. Can I get an amen? You know, she could be everything at once. Kamala, she made me want to join every religion. You know, she's just so spiritual. And Tim Walz, his little like, he's like, it's like a fashion show. Every time he walks out, he's like, la da 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 la di da 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 da. Oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm Tim Walz. I was a football coach. I'm just like you, Wisconsin. Vote for me. We need to get the vote from the white people. Oh, I'm a farmer. I like corn. And this is how I hold my corn. And then I try to bite the corn, but it's hard because my hand keeps moving. I'm trying to bite the corn. Where did the corn go? I'm a corn husker. Vote for me, Michigan. That's my Tim Walz impression. How's that? 1 through 10. Be honest, guys. Don't sugarcoat it. I don't want everybody to pretend like 1 through 10. How is my Tim Walz impression? Let me know. I'm gonna wait because I'm not starting the show until I get some results. It might take time. I'm not seeing anything, but I think I'm on like a 10-second delay, unfortunately. 1 through 10. I need some numbers here. How was that? Someone said Walz is gay. Someone said 10. I'll give you a 7, said Demon Hunter. Thank you. 20, said Sharon. That's better than 10. Thank you. 10. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. La 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 la. How are we going to beat the fascists if we can't put the tampons in the boys' bathroom? How are the boys going to be girls and how are the girls going to be boys? I was a football coach. Oh, what's going on with my jazz hand? Look at my hand. It reminds me of Mozart. La 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 la. The racist, sexist, xenophobe are going to vote for Trump, and all the good people are going to be with me, Tim Walz. Anyway, love your Eminem impression. Thank you, Vera. I appreciate it. $5 super chat. I'll hold myself out for super chats. You super chat me, tell me to do an impression, I'll do it. That's an awfully hot Tim Walz pot. Should I put it on Tim Walz's block? Probably not. I said a different word, but I can't say it on the radio. I'm Eminem. They used to not play me, bro, till I sold my soul to Satan. Dr. Dre told me, he said, hey, man, why don't you put on the Ray-Bans? And I put on Ray-Bans and I sprayed my hair, man, with a spray tan. Then my hair turned bleach blonde. And then all the kids said, hey, mom, can I get an Eminem CD? And she said, yeah, son, just make sure you go to school at 12 o'clock. And then the kids went to school and I made it cool to drool and do mushrooms. And it's like, all right, we get it. Did I hear his, I don't know what word that is, so I don't even want to read it. Seems like a setup. Seems like a setup. Walls told the gamer boys, I can relate to your needs. I put tampons in your bathrooms. I still don't know why anyone grabbed them though. I'm confused by what I don't know what he said. Oh yeah, I wanted to show should I do it? I don't want to get like in trouble because it's like it is a really weird ad. But there was an ad of like somebody like watching porn, and then like a Republican came in the room and they were like, hey son, you gotta stop watching because we changed the law. And he's like, oh man, I just wanted to do this. And I was like, this can't be real. I think it was real and I do want to play it, but it's almost so weird and gross. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to get in trouble on Facebook for showing, YouTube or whatever. Like, it's just a weird ad. But have you guys seen it? Do I disagree with your last statement? I'm generally curious what you think about this. I didn't see your last statement. Gamergate is a good reading. Okay. Someone said playing Madden with my favorite big booty Puerto Rican. Sounds like a fun Monday. Shouldn't you have a job? You're just playing Madden with big booty Puerto Ricans. Dude, you're living the hood dream right there. You know, Monday, no job, big booty Puerto Ricans playing Madden. Dude, the streets are looking at you with envy, my brother. You're living a gangster's paradise over there. I'm not reading. Rusty, that was a disgusting comment. I'm not going to ban you for life, but I almost want to off that comment alone. Have I heard the song by Wavy Matt called Stop Blanking Off? No. Sounds like Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, though. I'm sure it's one of the greatest songs ever made. I'll check it out. I probably won't check it out, to be honest. No offense to that person. It's just not, I don't see it in my daily future. Is anyone doing anything about the elites buying out real estate? Do I know? No, I don't think they are. Maybe Republicans will stop China from doing it, but not everybody else. The guy from BlackRock was in Trump's like advisory committee, Larry Fink or whatever. Trump's friends with those people. So I don't know who you're referring to or who you want to get out of real estate. Like maybe they'll stop China from buying farmland, which is a start. There should be some sort of rule against like billionaires from other countries just buying up our country. There should be a rule. Like, could I go to China and just buy up all their farmland? No. I can't even go to Mexico and buy stuff. They make you do a lease because the government doesn't want foreigners to own their country. That's Mexico. America, it's like, open the borders, put tampons in the bathrooms, who cares? Everybody could just buy up our stuff. So then you got some billionaires from Saudi. They're like, Habibi, we got oil money for days. Let's just buy an entire neighborhood, And BlackRock's like, we already own the neighborhood. And then Chinese people are like, we want the neighborhood too. And then I'm just like, I can't afford anything. And they're like, you're a racist. Why don't we, make sure that you're a minority? I'm like, you are? And they're like, that's a hateful conspiracy theory, even though we're saying we're doing it. And I'm like, geez, I just want to play Madden and hang out with my friends. I don't know what's going on. Who should I vote for, Trump or Kamala? That's how it goes. Gwen Walls with Katie Couric explaining how tampons in the boys' bathroom helps reading. That sounds like something I don't want to see. It's like, Katie Couric's like, so, well, can you tell me about the tampons in the boys' bathroom? She's like, well, technically the reading comprehension skills have gone up according to Reuters and the Lancet Journal. It's gone up about 55% since we put the tampons in the boys' bathrooms. And I mean, that's just basic economics. I mean, Republicans are just so ignorant. They don't understand that I have a PhD in gender studies and I'm an expert on this. And just think about the experts, all these people in middle America, they just don't want to listen to us. And we're so smart. And reading comprehension skills have gone up 55%. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Destiny. He'll tell you about it in the debate against Ben Shapiro, which totally isn't a double controlled opposition debate about absolutely nothing that people are going to drool over, even though both sides suck. What? They should limit how much land a foreigner could buy 1,000%. And they should limit how much I could buy in another country, unless I'm I don't. Anyway. So illegals can buy homes. I mean, I don't think that many illegals have that much money to be buying homes. Illegals are doing a lot, but I don't think competing with BlackRock is one of the things they're doing, It's these illegals are buying up all these real estate. It's no, that's Saudis, Chinese people, and BlackRock. It's not it's not like illegals. They're living in 7 people in a house and sending money back to their country. And, I'm not saying that's all they're doing, but I don't know. Most people that are rich enough to own massive amounts of properties, they're not illegally coming to the country with a coyote. Probably, I would guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm ignorant, but who knows? Not me. All right, I'm going to take off, folks. This was supposed to be shorter, so let's just keep it there. Appreciate you. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. A few things that you guys know. DreamRare.com. We have blue beanies. We have black beanies. We have a few sweatshirts left, XXXXL. So if you're a big boy or a big woman, check it out, because I don't think there's very many small ones left for you shorties out there. Shotties with the AWT, you know what I'm saying, for the streets. But anyway, check out DreamRare.com. If you want my links, go to DreamRareLinks.com. And if you go to my Instagram, which is DreamRare, I actually don't have that link, but I do have a new song coming out Thursday. It's or Friday. I guess it's Thursday night, Friday morning. It's 9 minutes long. The video's looking pretty good, and I'm excited to share it with you. I'm trying to make the best song I've ever made, and then I'm trying to, move on with my life. So it is what it is, but I'm pretty pumped about it. Everybody that's heard it says it's one of their favorite ones, and I wanted it to be one of my more iconic songs of all time. I didn't want to just put something basic out there. So I put my heart, my soul, my passion into 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Bars, bars, bars. If you're a fan of classic hip hop, if you're a fan of lyrics and people who aren't just demonic or gay, just doing a bunch of weird stuff to subvert humanity, this is the song for you. Check it out on Friday. I'm excited to share it with you, and enjoy your Monday. I'll be back with more videos. Hopefully you like this video. Let me know. Do you like when I cover funny stuff and just random stuff? Would you rather me do reports? Let me know in the comments, and I'll completely ignore you and just do what I do anyway. Just kidding, but I'll consider what you're saying. Thank you. Have a good one.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is DreamRare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. DreamRare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/RareTalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the DreamRare.com shop and Patreon.com/RareTalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying, so I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat or @DreamRareChat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. Dream Rare Chat at Telegram. My Instagram is at Dream Rare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com, that's DreamRareLinks.com, has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com.